Hey guys, and before you ask, yes, I'm wearing a hoodie because right now it's actually pretty cold in my room. The studio, yeah, where pretty much I film all this stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna be like this, I guess, for the entire video, or maybe not. I don't know yet. We'll see. But anyway, I want to welcome you to my new movie collections update video. All right, another small little stack of movies that I've watched within the last maybe 2-3 weeks. Honestly, I don't even know how long it's been since the last video. I'm just kind of like losing track of stuff. But anyway, glad you're here. Let's get started. All right. So the first video or film that I have to show you is the movie Dragon, which stars Jet Li and Takeshi Kaneshiro. It's actually a Hong Kong film that takes place during the early 1800s in China. And if you've seen my previous video, the movie Spotlight review, I basically talk about this film, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about it right here. But anyway, just to give you just a gist, basically Donnie Yen stars as a kind of like I guess you could call it assassin, or just an ex-member of a cult of assassins, and he's basically trying to get away from the group. He hides out in a village, gets married, has kids, and he's trying to kind of like live a normal life, but unfortunately the clan that he's trying to get away from is tracking him down, trying to get him back. And I think the interesting thing that I found about this film was the fact that the character that Takeshi Kaneshiro plays in here kind of has this very Sherlock Holmes type of vibe to how he actually investigates, crime scenes, like especially all the fight scenes that involve Donnie Yen. He kind of has like this, like I said before, this very Sherlock Holmes type of way of examining the crime scene, and he's basically picturing in his head how the actual events did happen, even though Donnie Yen keeps claiming that no, it didn't happen this way. It's like, what's interesting is that Donnie Yen kind of plays like this goofy character, which is kind of like a first for him, because in all these previous other films, for those of you that have been following Donnie Yen's career, is that he plays this very strong, assertive type of roles where he'll definitely dive into conflicts and fight full on with confidence. And here he does the opposite of that, which is at least for me it's new. I've never seen him do that before. So it's an interesting contrast. Again, him playing this opposite role, and then Takeshi Kaneshiro's character playing this Sherlock Holmes type of character, and just pretty much just breaking down everything, and bringing to light what really happens, how the actual events did happen, and the whole thing of the clan trying to find Donnie Yen's character and bring him back. So, I mean, overall, I did enjoy it. I love kung fu films. It's been a while since I've seen something from Donnie Yen, so this was actually, a pretty good film. So I definitely recommend this one for those of you that love, Donnie Yen's films, love kung fu films, love, a lot of these period type of old Hong Kong films. So I definitely recommend Dragon for you guys to check out. The next movie that I have to show you is, of course, Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained, which stars, of course, Jamie Foxx, Christoph Waltz, Kerry Washington, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Samuel L. Jackson. Now, I've seen several of Quentin Tarantino's previous movies, such as the Kill Bill series. I've seen Inglourious Basterds. I've seen what else have I seen? I can't think of anything else right now. I'm sure there's others. I just can't think of them at this point. But anyway, this still follows in the vein of Quentin Tarantino's usual style of filmmaking, with a lot of exaggerated blood and gore, which of course just adds to just the level of craziness that you can expect from a Quentin Tarantino movie. But it's still enjoyable. I still enjoyed this film for what it was, which is basically about Samuel L. Jackson's character Django basically trying to get his wife back from being sold during I think this takes place before the Civil War. So again, the selling of African American slaves. So it's basically about Django's character trying to get back to his wife, get her back, and along the way he's actually meets up with Christoph Waltz's character, who kind of frees him and helps him to get his wife, who's played by Kerry Washington, back from Leonardo DiCaprio's character, who's the person that actually bought her. And I have to say that again, it's a great story, of redemption, revenge, just the dynamics of, I guess, racial interaction between blacks and whites in here also plays a very interesting role, especially between Christoph Waltz's character and Jamie Foxx's character. Again, Jamie Foxx, Django, of course, being an African American slave, and Christoph Waltz's character playing, I believe his name is Dr. Schultz, being of German descent, you know. So I find that pretty interesting, that dynamic, that relationship that's forming between the two of them, you know, as they're trying to help each other out, you know, and ultimately trying to help Jamie Foxx get his wife back. So I definitely enjoy those elements, you know, and all the scenes that basically have Christoph Waltz and Jamie Foxx's characters interact with each other, just trying to get to know each other. I totally enjoyed all those particular scenes. And I have to say that I'm really impressed with Leonardo DiCaprio basically playing this very um, again, plantation owner that basically has no remorse towards anything that he does. But more surprisingly than that is Samuel L. Jackson playing the role that he does here, where you can kind of see him as being kind of like a betrayer to his own people, you know, for, you know, siding with Leonardo DiCaprio's character and going against Jamie Foxx and Kerry Washington's character here. So that was really interesting, and I was really surprised, and I loved the way Samuel L. Jackson played his character as well. I mean, there's so many good things that I can say about this film, but, you know, this video will probably take hours and hours, you know, so I'm just going to keep it at that. But overall, you know, I did love this movie a lot. You know, Django Unchained, you know, there was a reason why it won Best Screenplay at the Academy Awards, you know, and some still kind of would debate that, you know, Quentin Tarantino should have won Best Director. And I would have to agree with them, you know, on that as well. But, you know, other than that, I mean, overall, this was still a great film to watch, and I definitely recommend this for anyone who hasn't seen Django Unchained. Definitely check that out. For all of you people out there that have already seen Django Unchained, you know, more than 3 times or whatnot, this is definitely worth another watch anyway, because there's so many things in here that's just so great to watch, you know. And I can't help but have to say that watching Christoph Waltz's character and how he carries himself out, and even just when you hear him talk, you know, it's very, very enchanting to hear him talk. You almost feel like you're mesmerized by everything that comes out of Christoph Waltz's mouth when he plays his character in here. You know, it's like, I can't get enough of that. It's like, yes, just keep talking. Like, keep talking to me. Keep talking. Keep going. Yeah, you know. But again, you know, I definitely recommend Django Unchained. You know, it's something that you have to watch. You know, it's basically a great experience. You know, so definitely Django Unchained. The next film that I have to show you is the film Hitchcock. That has Anthony Hopkins, Helen Mirren, Scarlett Johansson, and Jessica Biel. I mean, there's pretty much like a lot of like well-known actors that are in this film, and it's basically about Hitchcock's obsession with the novel Psycho and trying to get a studio to finance it to actually, you know, make it into a film, you know, and everything that he does, all the coercion, all the you know, the behind the tables, or, you know, behind closed door dealings, you know, and how he tries to coerce, you know, the, I think then MPAA, or even prior to the MPAA, I forgot what the heck that the organization, you know, was called, because I don't think it was called the MPAA at the time, but whatever that organization was, and it's represented here in this film, and basically what he does to coerce them into agreeing to let Hitchcock make his film Psycho based on a novel. You know, kind of like telling them, yes, I'll do this, whatever you want, but he ends up going, you know, and does what he wants to do, what he normally does anyway for this picture, because he just wanted to produce the most realistic form of film that's horror as well as suspenseful. You know, what we all know which is Psycho. So I have to say that I was really surprised with Anthony Hopkins playing the role of Alfred Hitchcock. It took a little getting used to at the beginning, because I kind of, you know, again, Alfred Hitchcock had a particular type of face that you come to recognize, and there are certain moments that when you look at, you know, Anthony Hopkins and he's in, you know, his makeup, and you can kind of see it from certain angles that, yes, that does look like Alfred Hitchcock. I think did a great job with that. You know, and in some other parts, you know, it's kind of like, not so much. But again, just the presentation, again, how Anthony Hopkins, you know, imitated Alfred Hitchcock's, you know, personality, the way of speaking, his mannerisms was pretty much really impressive, and they were, you know, for the most part, from what I know, pretty spot on. You know, and Helen Mirren did a great job portraying Alma, who was Hitchcock's wife in the film. You know, again, she was great, and I love a lot of films that have Helen Mirren in it. You know, I love her. I love her in those films. You know, and Scarlett Johansson playing the lead actress in the film Psycho, and how he tries to kind of like understand her and try to get her to be the character, the lead character that he wants her to be in the film. A lot of good things in here overall. I've really enjoyed this film. Just because it just went into that whole narrative story of how and what Hitchcock did in order to get that film Psycho made. There's a lot going on. So I definitely recommend this film if you haven't seen it. So definitely check it out. The next film that I have to show you is John Dies at the End, which has Chase Williamson, Rob Mays, Clancy Brown, and Paul Giamatti. Now, this film is kind of a little weird, so I don't know how I'm going to explain this, but I'm going to try. But basically, the film is about these two guys that come across this substance, this weird kind of drug. I don't know if it's a hypnotic drug or an actual drug that gives people special powers, but it just does something weird to them when they take it. And the name that they give the drug is that they call it soy sauce, right? Because it is kind of dark, so that's why they call it soy sauce. But anyway, I mean, once you take this drug, it kind of kills the person, but the person still kind of comes back to life, and he can see things, or he has some kind of supernatural powers that kind of make him a little bit invincible, and they can kind of like jump bodies. It's kind of weird because they really try to mix up a lot of different elements from previous films, from ghost movies and paranormal stuff and supernatural stuff. So they try to mash all this up together in this film, and basically what it comes out with is, the two main guys that the film focuses on, finding this drug and trying to stop an evil creature from the underworld from coming forward into our dimension and destroying everything. And the only way they can do that again is through the soy sauce drug, because it allows them to be able to, I guess, travel into that dimension to be able to stop this evil demon beast monster from coming forward. So it's kind of weird in that, because the whole movie basically is being told through kind of like flashbacks. It's basically the lead character and Paul Giamatti's character, who plays a news reporter, sitting at a diner and having a conversation, and the lead character is basically replaying the entire events leading up to that moment where they find themselves at the diner, and it's weird, but I guess it was kind of satisfactory in a way. I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, I found myself at certain points having a hard time trying to stay focused on the film, because I'm kind of wondering, okay, where's it going? Why is this happening? Why is all this crazy stuff happening here at once? And you have to admit that at some points I was kind of like dozing off a bit too, but that's because I was watching it late at night anyway. So, yeah, but I mean, for the most part, I still got to see the whole film and understood what they were trying to do. But again, I kind of felt like there was some things that were kind of hit or miss with this film. But overall, again, there was lots of blood and guts and gore. Some of the special effects are a little bit hit or miss. Some of them are like really cheesy, and other ones are like pretty cool. And again, the story, that's the one thing that for me is hit or miss. Some might like it, others may hate it. Some might be in between, which is, I guess, where I am at the moment with this film. But again, I mean, what I expect. I mean, the title's kind of cool. John Dies at the End, and does that even happen? Does John die at the end? I'm not even sure. Well, anyway, I mean, if you happen to find this somewhere and you can rent it or whatnot, or purchase it cheap, I would say it's something worth checking out, for an obscure movie night, So definitely, John Dies at the End will be the film for such an occasion. So next, of course, I have a classic. I had this already on VHS. I had it on DVD, and of course, I had to get the 20th anniversary edition of this on Blu-ray, and it is Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park. I think all these movies were already recently released on Blu-ray. Jurassic Park: Lost World and Jurassic Park 3. I believe just today, at the time of this filming, they released the 3D version of Jurassic Park, which was playing in theaters recently as well. So they released that. But since I don't have 3D anything, and I can only just get the regular Blu-ray, so I definitely got the first one because it's probably my favorite one of the entire trilogy so far. Again, the beginning, you know, I remember when I saw this in theaters and just seeing the dinosaurs as realistic as CG at the time was able to create them, and just being blown out of my mind, because I'm a big childhood fan of dinosaurs. I've always been a fan, and always loved dinosaurs since I was, just a little kid. So definitely, I had to see this, this movie when it came on in theaters. And, again, I have them on every format known to man, so of course I was going to have it on Blu-ray. So, yeah, I mean, if you guys know what this is about, so there's no reason for me to go ahead and explain it. If you don't know what this is about, well then, I don't know. Anyway, Jurassic Park, definitely something that should have in your collection. Next, I have the film The Master, which is with Joaquin Phoenix, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Amy Adams. Now, the movie's about Joaquin Phoenix's character, who plays a veteran of World War II, and it's him basically kind of just drifting around, being a drunk, trying to, I guess, make ends meet, as he goes on living day by day. And it kind of centers on his character, or us seeing his character, and trying to figure out how he's trying to cope with his problems, and how he tries to deal with that, and what he does to figure out what he wants to do, but primarily just pretty much getting drunk day in and day out wherever he goes. And along one of these particular moments, he happens to get on a boat, and he meets up with Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, who happens to be the leader of kind of this cultist group that goes around preaching the idea of self-exploration, I guess is what you can call it. I mean, it's kind of weird. I may have to watch it again in order to kind of like really understand what his group was actually trying to, get other people to believe in, right? But he has like his own small congregation of people that fully believe in whatever it is that he's saying, and the film basically kind of focuses on the relationship between Philip Seymour Hoffman's character and Joaquin Phoenix's character, as he tries to understand Joaquin's character, and trying to mold him to fit into the group. Because Joaquin Phoenix's character, of course, he has his problems. Again, being a war veteran, of course, that really does something to you anyway. And his excessive alcoholism that he goes through, always drinking left and right, and even creating his own concoctions, which is kind of like how he ends up getting on Philip Seymour Hoffman's character's good graces to begin with anyway. So, that whole relationship thing of them trying to figure out how to pre-program Joaquin Phoenix's character to kind of like just fit in with them, even though you can see that at certain moments, Joaquin's character just can't fit in. He's branching out. It just feels like he just wants to break free and just be his own person, but they're just trying to strap him in, and it's weird, what they're trying to do to his character. But the whole thing about it is just seeing how they're trying to do that, and just seeing Joaquin Phoenix basically really explode and bring this character to life, which is one of the main pluses about this film, is just seeing how Joaquin Phoenix transformed himself into this character. It's really amazing, just the level of acting that he exhibits in this film. I was really amazed by that. I was kind of like inspired a bit also by his performance in this. So, I definitely give Joaquin Phoenix a lot of credit for, the portrayal of this character. There's a lot of hurt and turmoil and pain that you see in that character, especially when they're doing that prison scene, when they're both locked up in jail. That part right there, that I felt was one of the strongest scenes in the entire film, and just seeing Joaquin Phoenix pretty much kind of like just explode, with emotion and anger and just everything, just this one big fiery ugly ball in there, but it was really good, very, very captivating, and like I said before, I really enjoyed that scene the most in the entire film. And I definitely recommend this movie for anyone who hasn't seen it. Should definitely check out The Master. It's a really good film, and I give credit to all the actors in this film, because they did a magnificent job, doing what they did here. So definitely The Master I recommend. And the last film that I have to show you is this film called The Paperboy, which stars Matthew McConaughey, John Cusack, Zac Efron, and Nicole Kidman. And this film is basically about Matthew McConaughey, who happens to play, I believe he's like a big-time news reporter in New York, who comes down to, I forgot, where's the location that this supposedly takes place in? I believe it is in Mississippi. I think it's Mississippi. I could be wrong about that, but for some reason I want to say that it takes place in, in Mississippi, the bayou country, Anyway, so he comes down there to investigate a convicted killer that's played by John Cusack, because there's a lot of debate as to whether John Cusack's character was actually falsely accused of murder and sent to prison. But when you are introduced to John Cusack's character, you can really see that this character is not all there. Like, he's really psycho, and the interactions between Matthew McConaughey's character and John Cusack's, you can really see, he's trying to figure out whether, he is responsible for the murder or whether he isn't. But every time you see Cusack's character, you keep seeing him, again, deliver these really weird, bits of dialogue and the things that he kind of asks Nicole Kidman's character to do when she comes to visit him at the prison, because Nicole Kidman kind of plays this really this groupie type that has like a real weird, enamored type of connection with John Cusack's character, and they share these moments in jail, which is kind of like, wow, this is really weird. And again, just even seeing Nicole Kidman play this type of character too, it's kind of like, wow, it's like, wow, she really does play a very convincing groupie in this, So, a lot of interesting points, going on in this film, just the trying to figure out whether John Cusack's character is responsible for the murders or not is one thing, but just seeing how all these actors play particular roles, especially at least for me, Matthew McConaughey and Nicole Kidman playing the roles that they do, especially Matthew McConaughey. I have to give a lot of credit that he's been playing a lot of unique roles as of late, and I'm going back to things like Killer Joe, which is a previous movie that I may have spoken about in a previous film, where he played this hitman for hire, and what he does there was a pretty unique role. And then I believe he's coming out with a new film, very soon, called Mud, where he's playing another very unique character. So I'm giving Matthew McConaughey a lot of credit, because he's actually doing a lot of very interesting films where he's playing very unique characters. So, and this one is no exception as well. I mean, he does a terrific job here playing this newspaper reporter, and what he does to try to figure out the truth and just all the other nonsense that he has to put up with while going back to his hometown where the actual crime took place. Definitely, it's something that I would definitely recommend to check out. The Paperboy, if you haven't seen it. It's one of those films that it's kind of like it's one of those films that's lesser known, because I don't think it got a lot of attention or recognition when it was playing in theaters. So it's cool that I actually found this and took it and I watched it, and I have to say that it's pretty cool. It's very interesting for all the character performances, and like I said before, I definitely recommend The Paperboy for you guys to check out. And that's pretty much it for this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, as always, if you liked what I had to say about these films, and you like pretty much what I'm doing, kind of like doing like mini reviews of all these films, definitely like my video, subscribe to my channel so you can definitely check out all my other videos that I've done before, and just always be in the loop for new videos that come out. I might also be doing some new kind of like short video segments coming up really soon, so look forward to that. I'll definitely give more updates as I come closer to actually start working on those other short little films that I have in mind. So I'm trying to be as diverse as possible here on this channel. I try to give you guys as much content as I am physically capable of, giving you guys, and doesn't bankrupt me. But anyway, again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for the next one. All right, guys. Peace. Thing of the clan trying to find Donnie Yen's character and bring him back. So, I mean, overall, I did enjoy it. I love kung fu films. It's been a while since I've seen something from Donnie Yen. So this was actually, a pretty good film. So I definitely recommend this one for those of you that love, Donnie Yen's films, love kung fu films, love, a lot of these period type of old Hong Kong films. So I definitely recommend Dragon for you guys to check out. The next movie that I have to show you is, of course, Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained, which stars, of course, Jamie Foxx, Christoph Waltz, Kerry Washington, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Samuel L. Jackson. Now, I've seen several of Quentin Tarantino's previous movies, such as the Kill Bill series. I've seen Inglourious Basterds. I've seen what else have I seen? He kind of has like this, like I said before, this very Sherlock Holmes type of way of examining the crime scene, and he's basically picturing in his head how the actual events did happen, even though Donnie Yen keeps claiming that no, it didn't happen this way. It's like, it was interesting is that Donnie Yen kind of plays like this goofy character, which is kind of like a first for him, because in all these previous other films, for those of you that have been following Donnie Yen's career, is that he plays this very strong, assertive type of roles where he'll definitely dive into conflicts and fight full on with confidence, and here he does the opposite of that, which is, at least for me, it's new. I've never seen him do that before. So it's an interesting contrast, again, him playing this opposite role, and then Takeshi Kanashiro's character playing this Sherlock Holmes type of character, and just pretty much just, breaking down everything, and bringing to light what really happens, how the actual events did happen, and the whole thing. I can't think of anything else right now. I'm sure there's others, I just can't think of them at this point, but anyway, this still follows in the vein of, Quentin Tarantino's usual style of filmmaking, with a lot of, exaggerated blood and gore, which of course just adds to just the level of, craziness that you can expect from a Quentin Tarantino movie. But it's still enjoyable. I still enjoyed this film for what it was, which is basically about Samuel L. Jackson's character Django basically trying to get his wife back from being sold during I think this takes place before the Civil War. So, again, the selling of African American slaves. So it's basically, about Django's character trying to get back to his wife, get her back, and along the way, he's actually meets up with Christoph Waltz's character, who kind of frees him and helps him. Hey guys, and before you ask, yes, I'm wearing a hoodie because right now it's actually pretty cold in my room. The studio, yeah, we're pretty much gonna film all this stuff, so yeah, I'm gonna be like this, I guess, for the entire video, or maybe not, I don't know yet. We'll see. But anyway, I want to welcome you to my new movie collections update video. All right, got another small little stack of movies that I've watched within the last maybe 2-3 weeks. Honestly, I don't even know how long it's been since the last video. I'm just kind of like losing track of stuff. But anyway, glad you're here. Let's get started. All right, so the first video or film that I have to show you is the movie Dragon, which stars Jet Li and Takeshi Kaneshiro. It's actually a Hong Kong film that takes place during the early 1800s in China. And if you've seen my previous video, the movie Spotlight review, I basically talk about this film, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about it right here. But anyway, just to give you just a gist, basically Donnie Yen stars as a kind of like I guess you could call it assassin, or just an ex-member of a cult of assassins, and he's basically trying to get away from the group. He hides out in a village, gets married, has kids, and he's trying to kind of like live a normal life, but unfortunately the clan that he's trying to get away from is tracking him down, trying to get him back. And I think the interesting thing that I found about this film was the fact that the character that Takeshi Kaneshiro plays in here kind of has this very Sherlock Holmes type of vibe to how he actually investigates, crime scenes, like especially all the fight scenes that involve Donnie Yen.